Yes guys, so I am at the viral bin shelter. You either love it or you hate it. Let me know in the comments below which camp you are in and why. Anyway, today I'm going to take you for a look around, answer all your frequently asked questions, show you whether the bins do actually pull out or not, and yeah, just generally all the questions you've asked, I'm going to go through and answer them all. And then I'm also going to just give it a little bit of a tidy up because I built this April last year, and then I added a few plants through the year, and then since then I've not touched it. Like I've literally not even planted anything. All I've done is every now and again when I've noticed the odd weed, put it out. So yeah, it's sunk a few places where I've pulled out a massive weed and there's been quite a big root system that's come out, and then everything's sort of dropped. So I need to add some compost in there and other stuff. And yeah, I've got some pelargoniums as well to plant up in there. They do really well. Obviously, they die off in the winter, but they do give it a nice bit of colour throughout the year when they are alive. But yeah, let's have a look at it. So you can see there's a range of plants in there. First of all, we have sedum, which the bee gardener John sent me from his bin shelter, and I planted this up from cuttings, and you can see that it's done really well. Secondly, you'll see the odd sempervivum. So can you see that there under my finger? They did really well last year, but the problem is they don't survive the winter very well in here, unfortunately. And because the sedums do so well, they almost get sort of crowded out when it's their time to sort of recover the following year. So you can see in a few places, I think there's a few, where were they? There was a few around here, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, you get my point. Then we have some larger sedums. These were meant to be in my border last year at Gardener's World, and basically they just were like really floppy. So I was having to sell all the plants that were in my border, and these wouldn't sell, so these got put in here in the end. You've also got sedum Coca-Cola, which is a really lovely one and looks amazing in here. Probably doesn't look as good this year as what it did last year, but maybe it looks better here. So maybe this bit here, it's a little bit more exposed, and so it doesn't do as well. Then we have sea thrift, which does really well. Now, I've not watered this at all this year, so you can see like the sea thrift and stuff like that is looking a little bit yellow in places. So that is something that I need to be mindful of. One thing people do mention is this water, but if I put it on a stand, I'd be able to use the tap at the bottom. I like to just dip the watering can in there. You see it just there because it's quicker. And what I end up doing is if I use a tap, I'll put the watering can on, and then I'll be pottering about, and then I'll forget about it, and then I'll lose a load of water. So I need to pour. You can see actually I took the bracket off here, and then it all sort of dropped down because I wanted to use it somewhere else, and I thought I'll replace it, and then I never did. So I do need to fix that. Here you can see there were some pelargoniums which obviously died off in the winter, and then there was a few weeds that I sort of didn't take out for quite a while, so obviously that bit there has sort of sunk, so I need to sort of sort that out. You can see a lupin. Now that lupin did amazing this year. It looked absolutely incredible with this pink flower. I wish I got a photo, but I just didn't. I don't really hang around where the bins are, to be honest. But you can see now it's just got loads of green flower on it, so I don't think I'm going to get that second flush of flowers, unfortunately. But hopefully it comes back next year because I planted that last year. So, and then we have some dianthus here, which does really well as well. So I think going forward I want to have more of that. It's a perennial that obviously will keep on coming each year. So yeah, that's how it's looking. I'm really pleased with how it's done, and it's really not much work. Obviously it does get a few weeds, and there's a few things sort of that I've self-seeded at the back that I want to sort of take out, but apart from that, it just looks after itself mainly. Don't forget, I've written my build plans for this, so I'll link those in the description if you want to use those. It's got my step-by-step in and the dimensions, and I've labelled as well in the dimensions the ones that you want to sort of alter if you want more clearance. Because now, as you can see, this comes out fine. Now, I can control how much I want that to tip. You may want a little bit more clearance if you feel you can't control that and you are going to touch that at the top. You may also want to turn yours round, turn it round, and then put it in that way so that when you've got it in, you can put things in that way. And you may want a little bit more clearance to be able to do that. That is obviously just preference, and in the guide it tells you to leave a little bit more on certain dimensions if you want to do that, and you can add, say, I don't know, 5-10 centimeters, and obviously yours will be sort of higher. I wanted mine at this level so that I can see all the plants on there and I can just about touch the back. Like, there's probably 5-10 centimeters that I can't reach at the back, which I would have to get up to get any weeds there. Which obviously I don't have any trouble with. You may have a little bit of trouble with, so again, that's something you should take into account as well. So here I am putting that compost in where the levels have dropped due to those weed root systems being pulled out, and it literally blew in my face, which reminds me, this area is really windy, and that's why some of the plants haven't done as well, especially sort of closer to my front door, where it's a little bit sort of more vulnerable. And it has been a challenge when I've made these sorts of videos for you guys with that wind, with the sound. So apologies for that. I have got a better microphone now, so if there's anything you still want to sort of look at, you want any questions answering, let me know in the comments and I'll do a video with my new mic and get that sort of information over to you a lot more efficiently. So yeah, bear with me with the sound on this one, guys. Cheers. Tell you what, working on this, it does get its shoulders. So one thing, can you actually see me? So one thing I actually forgot about with the bin shelter is, since I did the bin shelter, I've had new windows. Now, when the windows were fitted, I said to them, oh, don't mind, like, you can sort of step onto the bin shelter if you need be, knowing how careful I am, thinking that they'd be careful as well. And don't get me wrong, they did an amazing job of the windows, but all this was trampled all over. So that's another reason why obviously the soil has dropped. When you do any raised bed though, the soil does always drop, so it's to be expected. But yeah, they didn't really be that careful, not as careful as I would have liked them to be. I might kneel down. Got my knee on. Too bad. One thing that I did think was very impressive was there's a pelargonium here that survived the winter. So obviously usually pelargoniums die through the winter, and this one's re-emerged this year, so well, that was quite impressive. Not flowering yet, so another one. So guys, as you can see, I've given it a refresh, lots of new compost, a little bit of soil conditioner as well. Obviously when you're adding stuff you always need a little bit of grit as well, because the drainage of these is very important. And now what I'm going to do is, you can see here, there's lots of little bit of sedum that's come off as I've been doing it. So basically what I'm going to do is, if I can get a good bit, I'm going to go around, and then where there's sort of bare soil, just stick that in there, and then that will root and it will spread all over it. So got a few little gaps as well that I want to put other stuff in. We've got some dianthus in the greenhouse, so I might put those in there as well. And yeah, really loving how it's looking. The only thing I'm really not loving is the sedum at the back. Now what I will say is, when it sort of gets a little bit more sun and those sort of open, those flowers, they look incredible. So I will show you guys that when that does happen, because yeah, you'll understand why I've got them then. Some of this is looking a little bit delicate because I've sort of lifted it up and stuff like that. So guys, there we have it, the update on my bin shelter. Let me know in the comments any questions you might have, and I'll try my best to answer them. Remember, I'll link in the description the bin shelter guide if you want to check it out and have a go yourself. And remember, this is all down to your discretion. You may want this a little bit higher. You may have some amazing ideas that you can improve this on. So just an idea, use your creative license to mod this how you like, and with what wood you may have available. I made it like this because this is the wood that I had available to me. A lot of the wood I didn't purchase. So yeah guys, and also message me any photos you have of the ones you've created. I would love to see them. So guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you can like and subscribe, that would be amazing. But as usual, more importantly, look after yourselves until I see you next, and I'll catch you on the next one.